Vienna, the capital of Austria, holds currently the prestigious title of European Capital of Democracy. What exactly does it imply, and why was Vienna selected for it? To explore this, the Caucasian Journal has the unique opportunity to speak to Mr. Helfried CARL, the Austrian diplomat and political strategist, founder of the European Capital of Democracy.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Welcome to Caucasian Journal. What is the European Capital of Democracy about, and how are you personally involved?
Okay, so I have probably to start from the very beginning. European Capital of Democracy is about the conviction that grew within me and my friends with whom I'm organizing this, that there is a lot of local innovation in the field of democracy already going on. But that there are two things we need to do about it. One is we need to have a best practice exchange, and the other one is we also want to showcase to the wider public what's going on. And to do this, we decided to do something like a selection procedure. So we are asking every year, it's an annual title, we are asking every year cities, whatever cities they are in the territory of the Council of Europe and Kosovo, to apply if they have more than 100,000 inhabitants, to apply for the title with 3 projects in the field of democracy they are already implementing, and 3 they would implement if they received the title European Capital of Democracy. And thus, they have to do some work in order to submit the application. When they have done so, there is an experts jury, an international experts jury of 6 highly renowned international experts from different fields. And they do an evaluation. They also do city visits in order to see whether the circumstances are right and the applications are sincere. And then after that, they come up with a short list of 3 cities, which are then submitted to another jury, which is a citizens jury of 4,500 European citizens, who in the end, then they decide who will win the title. And so we had Barcelona as the first European Capital of Democracy. Currently it's Vienna, and we have already chosen the 3rd city for next year, which is Cascais, a city close to Lisbon in Portugal. And currently we are looking for the 4th European Capital of Democracy. So the selection procedure is open and all cities are welcome to apply.
You are a career diplomat. What motivated you to step into the NGO field? Was there a turning point that pushed you towards working on democracy?
Listen, I've always been a very political person. And the more I looked at the situation in Europe, the more I was convinced that we need innovation in the democratic center of the spectrum. When I first discussed these issues with friends with whom I then later founded the Innovation in Politics Institute, we saw that people like Erdogan, Orban, Trump seem to be more innovative than the people we care for. And we thought we have to change this. And there is a lot of innovation going on. And this is why after my stint in Slovakia, where I enjoyed every day being an ambassador, I thought, okay, I want to go into the private field. It's not just NGO. The Innovation in Politics Institute is a private company, and help to bring the innovation that is already out there, also in terms of an best practice exchange across Europe. And we have a product that is called Innovation in Politics Awards, where we scout around 300 political projects all over Europe every year, again in the Council of Europe field. And from that we learn how much interesting democratic innovation is happening. From Ankara, they received a Democracy Award last year because they have done a very successful citizen council in Ankara, you know, where we thought Erdogan is around and things are not that well. A lot is going on the local level, I have to say.
Democracy, both globally and locally, faces serious challenges today. From your vantage point, what is your current assessment of the global democratic trend, and what does the future look like?
It's a good question. I think there is a very contradictory moment. We could have a lot more democracy, but we are seeing a lot less democracy. I think for us in Europe, the most difficult fact to come to terms with, in my view, is that our friends in the US see such a crisis of democracy, and this is, I think, a very careful way to describe it. And this is something which we are not used to at all. After all, they were the ones, 1945, who brought freedom and democracy to half our continent. The other half had to wait, but then still the US were very much on this side. And in Europe we thought that we were on the same side of history. And at the moment, most of us see that this is going in the wrong direction. Some in Europe, they like even this kind of trend, and this is also very dangerous. So we face considerable challenges, but at the same time, I have to say, if you look at it objectively, I still don't think that any of the authoritarian regimes are really attractive to the people. If you look to migration waves, for example, it's not the case that people, move to the countries where there is less democracy. And so I do believe that in the end we shall prevail, but there will be a big struggle to overcome the tendencies we see at the moment.
Let's return to Vienna itself. What are some of the Vienna's unique democratic achievements that earned this title? And what kind of know-how might be transferable to other countries, including those in our region?
Look, as I explained before, it's not me who made the judgment. It's experts and then the citizens' jury. But what I can tell about Vienna is that they have big strengths, and they showed them in their application. But they also, and I think this was even more interesting, they made an issue out of the weakness they have. The strength is that they have very strong formal ways of asking of democracy. Obviously, democracy is deeply rooted in Vienna, and they also have a lot of big consultation mechanisms going on with youth, with children, with minorities. So there is a lot going on. However, they themselves said we have one big issue in Vienna, and that is that 1/3 of Vienna's population is not allowed to vote in our elections. This is the case because Austria has a very restrictive naturalization law, so that even children who were born in Vienna and who lived in Vienna their whole life, from the last migrant waves of the Yugoslav wars, etc., they are not allowed to vote in the city of Vienna, because there's also a special case. Vienna is not only a city, but it is also a region with legislative powers, and this is why the Constitutional Court on the national level said you cannot have those people vote. So even EU citizens are not allowed to vote in the city elections in Vienna. So the city decided that they want to make a special effort to reach out to all those who they usually cannot reach, be they people who formally cannot vote, or people who just don't go to votes or who are not listened to, etc. And I think this was very appealing.
Democracy thrives on healthy debate, but often it is crippled by extreme polarization, which is the case in our country as well. What specific mechanisms or civic innovations that you can outline?
Well, we as a European Capital of Democracy non-profit, we bring our platforms and ideas to the relevant European Capital of Democracy. So it's on the one hand, it's Vienna doing what they promised to do when they applied, and on the other hand, we have several formats that we bring to the city during the democracy year, as we call it. One is not so relevant here, but it's interesting also that we organize a mayor's conference, for example, from the regions and from all the cities. Whoever applied for the title, we invite them. Also, we have a format called Truth, Lies and Democracy, which is happening right now this weekend in Vienna. And this is a game jam of video gaming developers who work on dummy games where people can find out and play in a gameful way with the issue of fake news. Mm-hmm. And they develop them over a weekend, and then we actually hand them over to professional game developers and ask them to look at them. It's something we did in Barcelona already very successfully, and we are now doing in Vienna, and it's a growing process. And the largest of our formats is the Innovation in Politics Awards, which I already mentioned. And there I have to say that we have a category called Democracy Technologies. And you see that a lot is going on in this field at the moment in terms of possibilities how to mitigate in the social media, how to also make sure that artificial intelligence that you can actually make sure that what you see is what you get, and that it's not fake news via artificial media, kind of redacted content or something like that. But to be very frank, I think that the foremost enemy we face are the social media, the big social media companies, and I think we need to harshly regulate them. I think that's it, and if we want to preserve our European way of life, then we have to be regulators in this field. I do not see any other way to do so. I don't believe that it's just the social media. There are other factors at play as well, but it is also the social media. And then I think we also need to just learn to talk to each other. I think people are not that good at accepting differences anymore. And you have to accept differences in life. That's what it is about. If you don't do so, we are all going to kill each other. So I think that's what democracy is about.
You've worked across Europe for many years. Based on that experience, what role do you see for smaller states or regions like the Caucasus in the broader European democratic landscape?
I'm not an expert on this region. I'm just a visitor of this country for a couple of days. But I am convinced, especially also coming from a country the size of Austria. This is, by the way, we were taught at the Foreign Ministry, we're not talking about a small country like Austria, we are taught to say a country the size of Austria. So maybe the Georgians can do the same. Okay. And we should be conscious of the fact that most of the countries in Europe are somehow like us. They are not the big ones. We don't belong to the big five. But we make up Europe. We make up this puzzle of very different states and ethnicities, etc. And I do believe that we can definitely make a big difference. When you look at the Council of Europe, for example, I mean the content that is created there, the basically governing laws that were developed there over the last 50 years, this is extremely important. And it's important that Georgia is part of this. It's important that Austria is part of this. It's more than just the European Union. But then there is also the European Union. And I think the EU is the crystallizing factor of all of this. And I ask from my country, I hope from my country to contribute to the European unification. And I think it's also in the interest of Georgia and the Caucasus in general to do so, especially this country. I believe there is now a window of opportunity for Georgia to join, and I would not waste the time looking at the Balkans. I've been working in the Balkans a lot. I have friends there. Many of the states in the Balkans, they are doing fabulous in terms of, opening the negotiation chapters now, etc. And they will join in 2030. And then there is Ukraine, and we will see, but I think that's going to happen as well. So I just hope that Georgia doesn't miss the train.
Finally, since you are visiting Georgia, do you have any observations or advice specifically for our country or for the Caucasus more generally?
Well, I have, because I really liked what I saw. I liked the people. I think the people are extremely friendly and also very open to foreigners. I liked the wonderful landscape I saw, but I also have to say I was very impressed by, for example, the fact that everyday corruption seems to be quite low. And having been in other areas of Southeast Europe, I have to say that this is quite an interesting phenomenon for a country like this. At the same time, people, we can all read the news. We know about the law on foreign agents, and I believe, I'm deeply convinced that a shrinking democratic space will also mean that this advantage of your country, for example, will be put at risk, because when there is less democracy, there is less control. When there is less control, we know what is going to happen. Absolutely. So I very much hope that this country goes into the right direction, and I think there is a huge potential there. I'm really, really impressed by what I saw.
Mr. CARL, thank you very much, and we are hoping to see you again.
Thank you very much. Always welcome. And I'm very glad to be welcomed by you here, and I wish the Caucasian Journal lots of support and also lots of success.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We cover what matters. Caucasian Journal.